Welcome, dear listener, to episode 52. I'm James.
I'm Mike, and we are
Last to the Party, the show where we talk about nerdy goodness. This is a show brought to you by Debbie Bricker, our faithful Patreon supporter. Now, Debbie just listened to our Star Wars rewritten blooper reel, which is exclusive to Patreon peoples, and she wrote, "Just listen to the Star Wars blooper reel. I literally laughed out loud several times. Y'all need to head over to the Patreon and support these guys and enjoy the bloopers as much as I did. All you have to do is search Last the Party at patreon.com or simply click the link below and join one of the many tiers." Hey, Mike.
Hey, buddy.
What do we have for him this week?
A bone to pick. Miss Debbie Bricker called me out on Facebook in the past week, and I'm sorry, Debbie, I didn't get back to you on Facebook, but I'm addressing it here because I've been trying to figure out, going back through the podcast, figuring out where I made fun of you for saying y'all. I don't know what episode it was. I haven't found it, and honestly, I think you're thinking James. But,
yeah, I have a tendency to make fun of everyone.
Yes.
Like,
regardless of race, creed,
friendship,
poverty level, or use of redneck accent. So
living or dead.
If I did, whoopsie, it wasn't intentional, but it was more likely having fun with the reading of the things, Debbie. But
fictional or actual,
that's a thing.
I'll make fun of you. I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yes, or made up, which is, I guess, would be fictional. Part of our imagination places. But anyway, Debbie, if I did, I haven't found it. I wish you would let me know what episode that is, because I'm in the dark. Speaking of things and stuff to pick, I saw Ragnarok.
Ooh, don't spoil it or I'll hunt you down.
I'm not going to spoil it. What I'm going to say was go see it and expect different.
Okay, good.
Expect different. And I hope you see it soon, because then we can talk about the one thing that bugs me about Ragnarok.
Okay. Is it the lack of Thor's hair?
No, I was actually okay with it. And the best part of that whole thing is who cuts his hair. So that's pretty awesome. Is it the
lack of Thor topless?
I was okay with the lack of Thor nipples in the movie.
They're called Thorples, by the way.
Thorples? Are they Hulkples then?
You'll have to ask him. I don't know.
I don't want to, because he'll respond and then he'll beat me within an inch of my life, or just have a Mike-size goo thing in the carpet, and that will also be me.
Last of the party, people. The first T-shirt coming to you is going to be Thorples. It's just going to be a shirt that says Thorples on it.
Is that like Batpulls, like the Schumacher movies, and on the outfits have the nipples? We're just gonna have T-shirts that say "Last the Party" on one side and just have nipple. No, we should not do this. This will lead to lawsuits, and Larry's stressed, and he's molting for no reason.
Molting while pacing. It's bad.
Poor ostrich.
So, what do we have for him this week?
A nightmarish image of Thorples now, thank you.
He's the god of thunder and dynamite areolas. Okay, moving on.
I've derailed the podcast. I can't think. I'm running on low sleep, dear listener, and I am
hashtag
right
professional podcasters.
Hashtag T transition. All right, so it's been a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a year in episodes. Probably been more than a year timeline, because technical stuff has dropped off and picked up and what have you. So we are officially at the 52 episode mark. Would be 52 weeks of episodes for you, dear listener. Yay! I hope you've enjoyed them. I know we've evolved. I know that you have grown to like our disparagingness and ever increasing staff of zoo animals that have been renamed for our usage because dads, I guess. So we're going to kind of go back to our roots a little bit. We're going to go back and talk about some things that we used to talk about on the phone stuff. But before we do, Jameis.
Yes.
Do you know what I saw is going to be on Black Friday? And notoriously, James and I avoid Black Friday. I might have to send in our guardian trash panda in on this one, though. Because I saw Assassin's Creed Origins and Shadow of War going to be on sale for $40 each.
Ooh.
I saw Injustice 2 going to be on sale for $20.
Oh, see, now pick that one up, and
If I have to
I'll
work
put
that
your
day.
Batman versus my Green Lantern. We'll see who wins.
That would be entertaining and sad, maybe.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
It will be a bloodbath, yeah. So it's a thing. It's stuff to mention because we're, in case you haven't detected by now, dear listener, we be cheap, we be thrifty, and saving a buck excites us in our brain place. But yeah, I also finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate story missions. I've got a few of the Queen missions to go through.
Nice.
And I think that'll be completedness, so I'm happy about that. But I am stalling for no good reason because I like to talk about things.
Sure.
And we are going to do an episode. We're going to do a DC versus Marvel throwdown, a team up throwdown.
2 versus 2,
if you will. Yes, we're going twosies. No, that's what my daughter used to say. Going poop.
I did that before we started. Thank you very much. All by myself.
Congratulations! I'm all out of twosie medals. I'm sorry to hear that, but there you go for you. We're gonna match up Black Panther and Daredevil versus Batman and Nightwing. Gets a DC versus Marvel, or as I said it, Marvel versus DC in the house. James has a finger up.
This episode, I'm going to give a little background here. So this episode, guys...
History with Uncle James.
History with the bearded one. So this concept, these versus matches, are why Mike and I started the podcast. It's why and we would spend hours on the phone and we'd be like, Wolverine and Colossus versus... I don't know, we'd name somebody like Moon Knight and... Warshak, or I don't know, it's just we would name the most random heroes, like Luke Skywalker versus Superman, like what would happen, and we'd put crazy twists on it, like, well, Luke's green lightsaber is actually made of kryptonite, so I need Superman's subtle magic, so Superman loses. But this is what started this podcast, is that we would do these versus episodes, or these what if episodes, or if you had to cast fill in the blank, who would you cast? But the antithesis of why we turned to one another on the phone one day and said, you know what, this should really just be a podcast, are the versus episodes. And then a few weeks ago, we realized, hey, we've said that before on this show and not ever done one in a year. So this has been a long time coming. I'm so pumped to be doing this. Now, we didn't think of this combination ourselves. I will be totally upfront with our audience about this. I saw an Instagram post on one of the millions of Instagram comic book based bloggers that I follow. And the image will be this week's episode image. And it is quite literally Batman standing toe-to-toe with Black Panther and Daredevil standing toe-to-toe with Nightwing, with a bright yellow versus in between them. Now, the reason this is so interesting to me is that this image immediately popped up in my feed, and I went, Batman would win. And then I did research on Black Panther, and then I said Black Panther's team would win. And then I did research on Nightwing, and I said Batman's team will win. And then I did more research on Daredevil, and I said, oh, wait, Daredevil's team will win. And now that I've done more research, I'm completely torn. And I'm going to say that going into this just to warn everybody.
Well, that's why we've got criteria going. We have to rate it by the following categories: strength, fighting prowess, and teamwork. Okay. Because I thought about it. I mean, we could talk about it till we're blue in the face, but we have to narrow it down into those three, or else we will never see the end of this episode. The dear listener will age 18 years, and it would be bad. I mean, it wouldn't be bad for us, but eventually you got to stop and edit this thing. And I got kids I want to see graduate, so we got to simplify. We got to simplify. So as far as strengths go, physical strength, not enhanced strengths or anything else. Strength of each character. I think of all of them, and this is not knowing feats of strength for the Wakandan champion, I would have to favor Batman over everybody.
Man, it's really difficult. I've read some things, I mean, where Black Panther has easily overpowered Captain America. And I consider Captain America to just be slightly stronger than Bruce Wayne, the Batman. I think
yes, that's who he is.
The Batman.
The Batman.
I think I don't know, man. But then again, Batman's like picked up the blue mailboxes that are like bolted to the ground and hucked it at somebody before. So it's like Daredevil has kicked a car door in half or off its hinges. I can't remember which one. There's stories of Black Panther wrestling a lion. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to throw the bias in, aka sticking with what I love. And I know that 9 times out of 10, if it's not physical strength, it'll be sheer willpower where Bruce will win the day. And off of that alone, I'm going to have to give the strength level to Bruce's team.
Okay.
Just for Bruce. Now, as far as I almost the teammateness of it all, the other side of the coin, if you will, because I think we have to consider this for two for him here, because there's 2 people in each side. So that second tier has to be ranked, in my opinion. Who is the second strongest in this group?
Man, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, Nightwing's agility is incredible, but Daredevil's agility, Spider-Man himself said was on par with his.
That is true, but have we ever seen Nightwing and Spider-Man flip off before?
Yeah.
For lack of a better term? I don't know. I don't know who's the better. I mean, yes, Spider-Man has innate gymnastic-like ability, but Nightwing's one of the only ones that has done the
circus,
the quadruple the quadruple somersault.
Okay.
Which is like unheard of and is like peak performance for circus performers. So is that on level with Spider-Man? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, his agility is so high, it's considered one of his superpowers. I mean,
yeah.
So the reason I'm so torn, dear listener and dear brother, is because, as our listener knows, for the past year, Mike and I have been frequented on a YouTube channel called Variant Comics. And our dude Eris has ranked the top 10 DC fighters and the top 10 Marvel fighters. Hasn't put anybody against anybody, has just ranked them from order of least to best. And on these 2 lists, we have Daredevil at number 9 on the top fighters for... I'm sorry. Daredevil's number 8. Black Panther is number 7. Okay?
Okay.
On the DC list, Nightwing is number 9. But old Bruce Wayne, old Batsy Watsy... I harnessed Joker on that, sorry.
Okay, that was weird.
Is number 4. So you've got 4 and 9 versus 8 and 7. Or 8 and 9, I can't remember which one. But I mean, either way, holy crap.
Yeah,
Bats
that is where stuff
just holds so much power. And Eris brings up a good point. He trains daily against metahumans that have 5 times his strength.
Yeah.
But I agree with Mike. I think the secondary players have a bigger part to play than second. I think Bruce could easily take Daredevil Because Daredevil, at the end of the day, is just a ninja with enhanced sensory perception and agility, slightly enhanced
But that
strength.
sensory perception is near Spider-Man perception, so we cannot.
So it's
ignore
near
that.
precognition?
I don't know if it's near precognition or it's near force awareness.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to say it's somewhere in those boundaries of perception. So that is definitely a strength to consider. Is it developed enough to take out Nightwing? I don't think it's strong enough to take out Batman. I don't see that happening.
I could see these two. Let's set this fight up. I could see this happening in a shipping yard in Bloodhaven somewhere, and Doctor Strange has accidentally sent Black Panther and Daredevil to Bloodhaven instead of Boston. He just mixed up the words in the spell, and
because it's in Pig
Right.
Latin, and come on,
It's hard.
People sneeze. People
Yeah.
sneeze.
He messed up the double dot U in Pig Latin. It's very hard to say.
Yes.
And I kind of see Bats and Black Panther sort of circling each other for a while. And I see Nightwing and Daredevil just going right at it. Just off the tear. Because, let's be honest, Daredevil dresses like a demon. And I mean, think of the people
that's
that
valid.
Batman and Nightwing face off on a daily basis. If you're a villain, you kind of dress like Daredevil. So I think that there wouldn't be a whole lot of words exchanged before Nightwing was like, "Screw this," and just went at him. I think we'd go stick to stick for a while with those two until they realized they were pretty evenly matched. Now I will say, Daredevil does have the edge in that one because he's trained with them longer. Nightwing didn't pick up the sticks until he became an adult.
Yeah, but Dick has been training with weapons since he was a child. So in that respect, it's about the same training curve as Daredevil. So I agree with you. Eventually there would be some sort of disarmament or something, or he would use his sticks and transform them with his Daredevil wiles into some sort of cane.
Yeah,
or...
and that's why I said that Daredevil would probably get the edge. I mean, unless Dick had his electrified versions of his escamas.
Yeah, and that very well could be
True.
the case.
Daredevil can turn his into nunchucks, grappling hooks, a small staff.
Is it a small staff to complement the bigger staff, like the two staff effect? I'm sorry, I'm channeling Monty Python and the shrubbery right now. I apologize.
But I think... I don't know. I mean, I know that when sheer willpower is put into place, I mean, we've seen Daredevil take out Wilson Fisk a few times in the comic book. And
gloriously so in the movie. And see, and that's a thing we have to count in the strength category, is the fact that Daredevil can take a massive beating and get back up. I mean, that's literally his superpower, is bleeding and dealing with it. I mean, I don't know if Marvel has coined that, but they might want to.
And, I mean, not to be outdone, I know I'm kind of arguing both sides of the fence here, but let's also not forget that in the rewritten New 52, when Abin Sur's Green Lantern ring left his hand, Jeff Johns wrote it that it only picked Hal Jordan because he was closer than Dick Grayson.
What?
Yep. This came out about 6 or 8 months ago, that the ring had multiple choices. Jon Stewart wasn't in a good enough mental state yet, dealing with post-war stuff. Guy Gardner was too much of a hothead at the time.
Which, how did he ever get a ring?
Man, if we've got an intergalactic brawl to go to, I want Guy Gardner on my side. That the dude,
yeah, he's a straight
the dude's
brawler.
a wrecking machine. Anyway, but the ring literally said target acquired, distance, X amount of miles, allocating, new target acquired. Hal Jordan of Earth, you have shown the ability to overcome great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps.
Ah.
Hal only got it because he was closer. Dick's willpower is unbelievable. I think that given Daredevil's precognition level, I don't think he can hang. I don't think Nightwing can hang as long unless he starts going to gadgets. And I think that's how he takes out Daredevil. It's got to be something Daredevil's never seen before. I think I'm serious. It's got to be like a grappling hook around the feet and then up to a building. And as he's zipping up, Dick comes down with a hammer fist underneath his chin and just knocks him cold. I don't know. I think Daredevil could take almost any other version of the Bat family except for Nightwing.
I mean, I think that is.
I think Damian Wayne would also be a super good fight, but that may be an episode for a different time.
That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. Okay, so in the strength category, we're giving it to the Bat family.
I mean, T'Challa is super strong. I don't think Daredevil has shown amazing strength and durability, but I don't think it's a sustained thing. I think it's only when he's just pissed enough that he can like take himself a second and harness great feats of strength, whereas like more consistently the Bat family, Team Bat, has risen to that level of holy crapness.
Gotcha.
I mean, Batman's
and that's a good
fought
analysis.
Wonder Woman to a standstill.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, Superman says that he's the most dangerous man on the planet.
Yeah, and I think that really brings us into the next side of it. Fighting prowess. Now, that may sound like, okay, you just did that, but this is where we have to bring intellect and gadgets and any type of special move or armament into play into this round. Not cars, stuff that you'd wear on your person. So that's where electrified eskrima sticks, or as Nightwing calls them, his wingdings, because that's what he calls his shuriken-like weapon. I didn't make it up. It's in there. It's canon. I can't reverse that. Also, to bring to bear, T'Challa has the Black Panther suit with the woven in vibranium. Which, how do you do that? How do you weave vibranium?
Man,
that's the one thing I don't understand. Why he's able to stand up after putting his pants on.
I think I don't know.
He's got to have like thighs of Mjolnir steel.
Have you seen them? They're amazing. I think.
When have you seen them? Don't answer that.
So many answers that I could give. I think that the Wakandans have just been working with vibranium for many thousands of years, and technologically, they make the rest of the world look like a joke when it comes to their knowledge and use of technology and vibranium. So here's my question for you, big brother.
Yes, sir.
I really don't think that Nightwing has anything that Daredevil hasn't encountered before. So the one thing we should probably establish, granted it's 24 minutes into this podcast, but one thing we should probably establish, are these all four characters in their prime? Are these Nightwing just became Nightwing, Batman has been doing it for a while, T'Challa's been Black Panther long enough to know what's up, and Daredevil, I mean, are we saying...
We are saying that in the grand scheme of things, during Doctor Strange's teleportation, he got everyone to one place in a warehouse in Bloodhaven, in their natural prime state.
Okay.
So everyone is at the top of their game. Everyone is prepared like they would be on a night of patrol, so no special arrangement of what have you.
Because we all know the number one argument of Batman fans, and you're so guilty of this as well, is... Well, if Batman knew what was coming, he could make like the ultimate, and that is one of his superpowers, is his massive intellect. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it needs to be No vehicles, no special
Nope.
preparations. That's not a word. No.
But you're using it.
No. This is a surprise. They're both running in opposite direction or towards one another, going in opposite directions, and they literally have to hit the bat brakes on the bat boots to be like, "Whoa, who are these people?" And you look like villains. So do you. And then like they're gonna fight.
Where's what's his fate that we're after?
Yeah.
You tell us. We know you got him.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And Batman's like trying to get Batman. Let's face it, Batman and Black Panther are both kind of negotiator, logical types. Are both just stare down mode, patiently waiting. And I think the fight evolves with Nightwing and Daredevil eventually picking a fight, just because Nightwing's hot-headedness might get in the way. Daredevil goes into defensive mode. Black Panther goes to step in, and then Batman feels like he needs to, just because he's like, oh, Catboy's got some moves. Yeah. Okay. So I think it evolves from there. I don't think it's I knocked over my microphone because I'm that excited about the fight thing. But I don't think it's you have outfits, so do we. Let's fight. Whoop-ah! Yeah, I don't think it's like that at all.
It's not a bad anime setup. It's
more like misunderstanding leads to self-defense, leads to everyone kung fu fighting. All right, so the hardest thing to get around's got to be the vibranium weave in T'Challa's armor. I mean, no matter what scenario I spin, yes, Batman could swing into him, kick into him like a Mack truck, drop from 5 stories, and slam into him. That's going to cushion some things.
Well, yes, I think that...
not make him invulnerable, not make him intolerant to pain or anything. I'm just saying, the best hits are going to be slightly blunted, like he's working with a handicap in his favor because of that mesh weave. Do you agree?
Well, I think that vibranium can be several different consistencies. In Captain America's shield, the density of vibranium is enough to absorb and dissipate a lot of force that comes in. I think a vibranium weave would be really good against like fast-moving projectiles like bows and arrows or bullets or motorcycles. Don't know why I said that. Or it could, but I think it wouldn't really affect for him to be able to move in it. I don't think that I think a punch would be just slow enough to be able to take damage. I think one of his weaknesses would probably be like baseball bats, because you can't generate enough. Like when you get hit with a baseball bat, the force is spread out into a wider area and it's a lot slower. That requires a different type of armor than like ballistic weave. And so I think, yes, I'm a physics nerd. What?
No, I didn't say nothing. Kyle Hill's clapping along with you, son.
Yeah. So I think that I don't think it would make as much of a difference as we think. Now, we haven't seen what type of makeup that helmet is. That helmet could be super rigid, and thus any face shots, Bats is going to risk breaking his knuckles. But then again, Batman has faced off against people like Firefly and other helmeted foes.
Mr. Freeze.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing he couldn't handle. And I think that's what the big chunk of this fight's going to come down to is, does one side or one fighter really bring anything to the table that the other one can't handle? And when it comes to Nightwing versus Daredevil fights ninjas like all the time. So
True. But then again, Nightwing has helped out against not the hand, not the foot. Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins, not the hand, and other type of ninjas.
Foot, he's the armpit.
Been against
not the
the belly button
not
of
the
assassins
heel.
Is really what we're looking for.
I'm gonna join the heel.
A hive of scum and villainy.
True.
He's helped against the League of Assassins before, so he's fought against ninjas too. I mean, clearly not not as many times as Daredevil is what I'm
True.
venturing to say. Pardon the pause, but that's what that is. I don't know. It's one of those things that just, and let's face it, in a logical world, they're going to throw down, and eventually there's going to be a calm down period where talking is going to happen. Eventually this won't be a, hey, let's beat them until they're down and done for and we can search the place. Because these people are trained in weird environments. They don't think like us. They're eventually going to give something the benefit of the doubt. If they hear something, it's like, okay, we need to slow our roll. In this made-up scenario where we have to pick a winner, because of, if we're going with the comic book version of Black Panther, and if he's got the fighting knowledge of all the Black Panthers before him, I've got to give that to Black Panther.
So, I did some research on this.
Oh, here we go. Declare a winner. It's like, wait, there's more. There's
I
more.
thought that would be a lot bigger too. He can draw on the knowledge of all the previous Black Panthers, both male and female, kings and queens of Wakanda. But he has to be in a meditative state to do it. So it wouldn't affect him in combat at all. Because he'd have to,
what he knows going in is what he knows, period.
Now, if this fight, again, this is a totally different fight from both sides. If, in fact, they meet up, clash, both ends retreat, and they've got time to, like, think and ponder and plan and then come back together. That's a whole different conversation.
That's not what this is. This is not what that is. This is something else. This is emerging in the warehouse and one's coming out the winner. Man. Okay. Well, besides the suit and the claws that come with it, which Batman's been up against before, if he doesn't have that generational hive mind like memory bank like Assassin's Creed, only not. I think I'd still have to give it to Batman.
I do too. Again, it's number 4 against number 8 and number 7. With number 9 from DC there to wear out Daredevil before. I think in the long game, Daredevil can eventually, I do say eventually, because it will not be a quick anything. I think eventually Daredevil is going to get pissed off enough from Dick tagging him enough and being a super smart ass the way Dick is. I said dick tagging. That made you giggle?
No. I just okay. So I can't remember in which one it is where Neil Patrick Harris. It's Batman the Red Hood, where Neil Patrick Harris voices Nightwing, and I'm hearing his voice messing with Daredevil. That's what's cracking me up.
Yeah, cast that movie already, would you, Warner Brothers? Jeez.
That would be intensely amazing. Yes. So
I don't know. I don't think, for some reason, and again, as much as I love Nightwing, I don't think Nightwing brings anything to the table that Daredevil hasn't seen before. In the long fight. In the handful, if you rolled this fight 100 times, sure there's 5 or 6 where Nightwing lands the perfect shot, the Hail Mary roundhouse that for some reason Daredevil didn't block. I
thought you were going to say didn't see coming. I'm like, that's insensitive. That's
James
funny.
is a bigger jerk than we thought.
Whoopsie.
But I don't know. For some reason, my gut's just telling me Daredevil's got Nightwing, but barely.
Yeah.
He steps to Batman while Batman's blocking, the claws of Black Panther, and Batman just lays him out cold. From a fist or knee or elbow or a backflip, and Bat wraps his
pinky toe.
Batman wraps him up in the cape and hits some sort of button, and Daredevil can't move until he's unconscious or some weird. I just think Bats has everything Daredevil has never seen before. That's one of Bruce's powers, as far as I'm concerned. Is just the way. What? What do you do to win? But I don't think. I don't know. I do definitely give it to Bats, but I don't think.
Yeah, I mean it's grudgingly admitting that he would win everything while paying massive respect to the other combatants, because it's super close in my head, but in the end, I think he's gonna walk out the victor just because that's who he is.
I mean, yeah, I don't. And again, we don't. I think the far better fight would be Moon Knight versus Batman, which is literally Marvel's Batman. With,
yeah, true.
The god of Anubis.
I'd have to do research on Moon. I'd have to research that one to make sure I knew what I was talking about. It's one I want to do, but
now I do think
not there yet.
I do think that you roll that fight 100 times out of 100, and I only think it's Bruce 51% of the time. I think it's that close. I think it's that close.
I think it was going to be 60.
You think 60-40 split?
I think just because of who Bruce is. I mean, it's not that T'Challa is a bad fighter. I mean, he's one of the 4 smartest men in Marvel Comics, but so is Bruce in Marvel Comics. No, I'm kidding. And in DC Comics. So you really have to look at that and go, okay, so they kind of negate each other in that. So oh man, this hurts. Yeah. This is not, I mean, I thought, oh, this will be easy. Nope. This is straining some brain cells and they're wanting to lay down and take a nap. But man, obviously we've got Team Batman as the first 2 events. I almost don't want to talk about the third one because to me it's an obvious winner. Teamwork. Which pairing works together better? It's like finding the right Bordeaux with this slice of meat.
Well, I mean, not in my eyes. This is the only clear time where 100 out of 100 they win because of good teamwork. I mean,
because practice.
Because for some reason Bruce doesn't age, but his sidekicks do. I think that Dick grew up with Bruce. They have a father-son vibe. T'Challa's only worked with Daredevil a handful of times. There's your clear winner. I mean, this is the only one that I don't think war in city discussion. Now, it's a massive part on a 2-on-2 battle. You could even, if we were rewriting the Bat family versus the Marvel family fight scenes, like we did the Star Wars prequels, which is now on patreon.com, you could almost say that one of their crazy fight formation, ricochet off one another, just crazy whirlwind of roundhouse kicks is what could probably do Daredevil in. Because again, none of his enemies fight as a force. He takes a group of people on that are all trying to individually take him out. I think that Daredevil or Nightwing and Batman are more than capable of fighting as a unit, whereas T'Challa and Matt would fight as incredible individuals on the same side, but that's not as one.
That is true. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
A word. Now, I will say, if we're going to, I don't mean to step the podcast backwards in direction, but let's review how Black Panther became, or how T'Challa became Black Panther. As King of Wakanda, the Black Panther has access to a vast collection of magical artifacts, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I started reading the wrong paragraph. As Black Panther, to become Black Panther, you have to defeat everyone in Wakanda that wants to be king.
Everyone? Mm-hmm.
To take the mantle of Black Panther after... Well, so being king is his birthright, but to earn the Black Panther title of the Panther tribe, he has to take out his own bodyguards. Impressive. Which are a group of guards that their name escapes me at the moment.
That's fearsome.
But so he can be king without being the Black Panther. Yes. But T'Challa took them all out, beat him to a standstill. So that's like 30 people that he had that have been training to be warriors their entire life. To take him out. Now, I do think the reason I think this is so close in fight prowess is because there's a Wakandan panther god that grants Black Panther superhumanly acute senses, enhanced strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, healing, and reflexes. And,
Okay.
and again, the only reason I think Bruce wins 51% of the time to the 48%, 49% math, shut up,
I'm good. You're good.
is
all
because
good. No one
Bruce
noticed.
at any time can be like, okay, Black Canary, let's go. Okay, Superman, let's
Black
fight.
Canary? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're
like, okay, Dr. Fate, let's go. Or Martian Manhunter, shapeshift into something crazy I've never seen. I got to beat it up. You know, he can, at any time, he has the entire cast of a DC universe in the Watchtower. Or maybe he fights the Flash one day to get faster. He's trained, I mean, he literally has mastered almost every martial art on Earth. And I think that gives him the edge.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's switch it up just a little bit. What if it were a battle royale setup where it was a kind of a free-for-all? They were given some sort of... They were set there through mysticism, and something went wrong with the spell, and they all kind of have the fighting madness. And now it's like, target, get it! And it's just all adrenaline and no speaking and all just kind of... like an 8-year-old button mashing a controller during a fight game. Yeah, ugly,
Gross.
isn't it? Who wins that?
I don't know, because T'Challa is totally okay with killing you.
There is that to consider.
I think,
but you have to get your hands on Nightwing first, and that's one of the first places I went. Is he's mad, but he's flippy, and because he's so flippy, he might just flip out of the way and just let a few people knock each other out.
Yeah, but Bruce
first.
could take him out instantaneously.
There is that to think about.
I don't know, man. That battle royale scenario. If Bruce
scenario,
no,
scenario.
It's a Italian term. Scenario. I think that. Oh man, because then you got a Bruce versus Nightwing versus Daredevil. See, I don't think Daredevil stands a chance against Black Panther.
Nope. No.
I think, man.
I mean, he's tough, but he's not beating Black Panther tough.
No. He could...
I mean, and it may last a while.
Sure.
I mean, that fight may go on for a good 8 minutes before victory. But eventually, Wakandan's walking out with his head.
Yeah, because Vibranium cuts through everything that...
Yeah, there's that to think
that Daredevil's wearing. I mean, and probably the Kevlar that Bruce is wearing. I mean, let's be honest. There's really no substance on the DC universe that Vibranium can't cut through. And we're not even talking about the fact that Black Panther typically carries a magic infused triangular push punch dagger thing that glows pink on his right hand. That's essentially a vibranium lightsaber. I mean, that thing can cut through almost anything. Now, granted, at the end of the day, it's still a bladed weapon, and Bruce and Nightwing and even Daredevil could probably disarm him, but if they thought that was a normal blade, that could be a mistake that could cost them their lives.
There is that.
Because Daredevil prefers not to kill. Don't think he'd ever had. Don't quote me on that.
At one point, he was possessed by a demon, and he did kill Bullseye. Ran the boy right through with a sigh.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, given the Ben Affleck appearance of that character in his movie,
tainted.
I'm kind of cool with him being dead. Let's.
Wow. And owie.
Battle Royale scenario, I think it still comes down to Black Panther. I think it still comes down to Batman. And Batman barely wins it. Barely wins it. Because if he's not in his right mind, can you imagine a ragingly pissed off Black Panther coming at you hard? I mean, granted, the equally terrifying his
Fighting
Batman like that.
Yes. Yeah. That's oh my gosh. That's I don't think Bruce. I think Bruce would go back to the days when Jason Todd died, and he would go after criminals, but he wouldn't even block. He would just barrel into people and tear into because he wanted to block out the pain. I think he would go back to that mindset. In which case, oh my gosh, good luck to everyone because the odds are not in your favor. Because there's a Batman coming, and he's frightening.
Yeah, I think once T'Challa sees Batman do a cape move to distract Daredevil, I think T'Challa's completely capable of cutting that thing off of Bruce.
Oh yeah, that's gone. Totally.
I think it's I don't know. This is such an interesting question. Like I said, I honestly think it's 51-49 Batman's favor. I don't think this is going to be soccer scores. I don't think we're going to see Batman win by 7 in American football scores. I think this is going to be Bruce lands the touch of death at the last moment, and has a nicked artery, but still wins at the last second. Injects himself with something crazy to stop the bleeding, and then passes out, and Alfred has to come pick him up.
Yeah, I don't have a clear winner on the Battle Royale. So, I mean, it's either Bruce by a slim margin, or it's T'Challa by a slim margin. I don't think there's a clear winner just because if it's no holds barred, I think they're both going for it and they're both equally capable of
yeah, finishing. I think a lot of time is going to be spent on Daredevil's part trying to get a hold of Nightwing. And I think that Nightwing with his gliding and Daredevil with his swinging are equally, a lot of their energy is going to be just catching up with one another. I think that there's going to be a lot of unnecessary flips.
A little parkour goodness in the background.
Yeah, I think
Netflix will love to get the movie rights.
Yeah, this is, man, I don't know. Because again, T'Challa, whew, the more I read about this guy, the more I'm like, oh no, T'Challa could be Batman. And then the more I read about Batman, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Batman fought the Predator and knocked him unconscious.
Yeah, he had a little.
But is subtle enough in combat to take the ring off Hal Jordan's hand, which is not supposed to be able to happen.
But he did it.
Yep.
But he did it. And let's face it, Bruce went through the gauntlet when he was training. What was it? A fighter an hour for 26 hours. No rest, no food, no sleep. Yeah. Maybe it was longer than that, but it was a long
He's trained
time.
With the League of Assassins. He's trained with Lady Shiva. He's trained with everyone.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason that T'Challa gets edged out in my book 51-49 is that he just knows like Wakandan martial arts.
Or African martial arts as opposed to
he has his own style, which is the reason that he is 49-51 to Batman. Like, I think that same justification works the other way.
Yeah, that's respectable. I mean, let's face it, we're not putting him down by any means. It just comes down to, it's not that he's bad. It's just that Batman is so much more knowledgeable. In the field.
And like I said, man, 49 times he's going to beat him. It's just Batman has those 2 extra victories that sets him as the victor. Now, I think it is really important to note here, before we get too crazy into it, is that there is one thing about Daredevil we hadn't really covered.
What?
Is that he does have superhuman accuracy, too. So because he has this sonar sense, and I'm sorry, radar sense, which is similar to echolocation. I mean, I think he could ring Batman's bell once.
Is ringing Batman's bell enough to put him down?
No. I'm saying, I'm saying in the Battle Royale scenario, I think Batman takes out Nightwing because he sees him, because he knows him, and he sees him as the immediate threat because he doesn't know these other two fools. So he's gonna tactically, he's going to address the biggest threat in the room first. All he sees is a dude dressed like a black key cat and a guy dressed like a devil. Well, he's beaten those 100 times over. Though it's Catman and Red Guy. I've got those guys, no problem. I think he addresses Dick first. He takes him out. And then I think while he's, spinning around, figuring out who to take out next, I think Daredevil gets in a good shot.
Okay. That makes
Rings
sense.
his
That
bell,
makes sense.
blurs his vision, and while he's stumbling around, Black Panther ends Daredevil in a bloody, bloody mess.
Ew.
Yeah.
And honestly, that also could be the way that T'Challa wins against Bruce. I mean, while his bell's ringing, he just dispatched Daredevil and then proceeds to walk up and end Bruce as well. So it very well could be a 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought up the pink vibranium lightsaber dagger is because if he has that thing, we've seen that thing cut the side of planes in half. We've seen it like Morpheus style take out a Jeep tire, the hubcap, the other side of the tire, and the driver's side door off. If Bruce thinks that's just an energy weapon, he may try to block that with one of his gauntlets. If that's the case, Bruce is losing a hand.
That would stink. And Bruce would keep on fighting.
I think that's part of that 49 though. I don't think that's still.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, Bruce could be like, "Oh, bladed weapon. That's one of my suit's weaknesses. He won't get near me."
Could be.
I think in the group fight, if Nightwing, because I think that one's 60-40 Daredevil. If on the 40, I think 40 of those victories in Nightwing's favor are the 50. those attribute to Bruce's 50 in a big way. Because I couldn't fill up my right hand on fingers with the amount of people that could take Bruce and Nightwing with a common enemy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. That is a good point.
Like super powered individual. I don't think a Wonder Woman could take the two of them going full force to try to knock her unconscious. Ooh.
I don't know. That's a whole other conversation, man. Just because there's so much of Diana that depending on the scenario.
That's true.
I'm not even touching that, dude. I'm not even touching
Good point.
All right, so we're calling it.
Yeah, I think
Team Bat wins the what are we calling this?
The versus.
The face off, the matchup between Marvel and DC in this round, with Batman and Nightwing coming on top and Black Panther and Daredevil going home to a saucer of milk. The Battle Royale, it's a tie. I mean, just because how he sent it in with the madness and pure aggression and no fighting. Yeah, so many scenarios where either Batman or T'Challa are walking away with the big W. That's win here in these parts. Yeah, that was weird. But
I can't believe we're at an hour already. I think this still has more discussion in it, but I think we've decided one user over the other.
Indeed. And that's really been the fun of it. It's just try to mull over and picture and think about and do
So
things.
Mike and I have been researching this for 3 weeks. Just thought we throw. We had this episode written a long time ago, and I've flip-flopped so many times, and Mike's flip-flopped so many times. I mean, Mike's a huge Batman fan. I love Nightwing.
Yeah.
But I'm coming around to Team Black Panther. I cannot wait for his movie. I really want to get more into the comic books and his history. But yeah, I few things scare me more than a super pissed off, magic drunk Black Panther. I think he could take out lots and lots of people. Now, with that being said, dear listener, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're DC fanboying out here, or do you think we make some good points? Who do you want to see step in the ring next? I would love to make this a monthly series. If it's something you guys would like to do, we could do Why We Love and Versus. every month,
That'd be
and
cool. Yeah.
and that could just be a regular thing on the show. With that being said, I'd love to see Danny Rand step in the ring, and see how many people he could take, because he's like number 3 on Marvel's.
That would be an interesting scenario.
Anywho, I mean, we could even do the classic mashups: Thor versus Superman. We could do Wonder Woman versus Black Widow. That's a different fight. Never mind.
That's a different fight. That's a way different fight.
No. We would find her a worthy adversary, which will be extremely, extremely difficult. Indeed. All right. So for last of the party, I've been James.
I've been Mike. Thank you so much, dear listener, for tuning in, for listening, for sharing this time of imaginary violence and raw hero daring do. Please catch us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Of course, you can hit us with all the social stuff on Instagram, on Facebook with our group, and on Twitter, which just expanded to 280 characters, and I still don't know what I'm doing on the thing.
I only post emojis.
You just post emojis?
On the Twitter.
That makes me sad.
It should.
But it feels accurate. Okay, dear listener, we'll catch you next week. Hey, we're planning stuff for Patreon listeners, and we think you're going to like it, so stay tuned for that. We haven't forgotten about you guys. It's just been a very busy season. But season 2's coming up on you. We're planning some stuff. Get ready for it. It'll be exclusive. So take care, dear listener. We'll catch you next week.
Bye.